Today, we are cutting stuff up. We're testing out a little bit of a science experiment. Let's see how fragging goes. We're back, baby! And this time we're giving you a nice update on the science experiment. A lot of you guys were asking, like, oh, what was that science experiment in the last video where I had that little frag of GSP? But guess what? You know, it didn't really work out too well. Something swam by and I was like, that looks more of like a snack than a science experiment. So it came along and just munched it right up. But we're Reef Bros, we're not Reef quitters. So this time we're diving back into the science experiment again, and we're gonna frag a little bit off just to see if we can split our GSP and keep it going. So as a lot of you guys know, fragging is one of the main ways of reproducing coral. As coral grows, it keeps splitting off new heads, new polyps, and keeps growing out. And the way to reproduce it and make another one, you just cut it right along it, and you split it into two pieces, and now there you go, you can get more coral. But we're, still learning here, like everybody. So we're trying it out on a nice, easy coral. So that's why we're looking back at the GSP, our green star polyp. So we got the little culture of it growing there. We're gonna split it up, start off a new science experiment. Now let's see what we can do. So I have a handy dandy frag kit here. It's got a scalpel, some cutters, some other stuff that, we'll get to those once we learn how to actually frag. So what I'm gonna do here is just start with taking out the rock that I put in last time. This has been using it well to hold up the feather dust. So you can see, whoop, it just sucks right in because I scared it. Gets a little stuck to the rock, but we'll fix it up real nice at the end. But the first step, you gotta take it out of the tank. I have it in some water so I can keep it wet with just easy dipping it. And I take the scalpel and just slowly start trying to cut some of it off. It was really encrusted to the frag plug here, so it was a lot tougher than I thought. I thought I'd be able to just, scrape the scalpel right under and peel it right off, but it did not want to come up. So it was a little bit of a challenge. I had to keep working the scalpel under it, and then finally I got a flat part where I just ran it right along the bottom, was able to pull off a nice little piece. I also took off a little bit of a piece that I'll show you later for the new science experiment that will start off. But while I had them out and all stressed out, I figured it'd be a good time to also scrape off some of the hair algae. Also, there were two bits of bubble algae forming in it. So I figured, why not? He's out, it's stressed out, let's clean him up. At the end, I had a couple new pieces of GSP that I took off it, and it's all cleaned up, so I'm gonna go and put it right back in the tank. In the cleaning spirit, let's finally get those two pesky bubble algae that have been stuck on the feather duster. They've been there for who knows how long. I was trying to delicately just see if I could just slide them right off. Wasn't the best idea. I didn't think it fully through, because I was like, even if I do get them off, then they'll just flop around in the tank somewhere. I used the good old hat rack and decided to take it out of the tank and put it in the little cup I had here. So now it was a lot simpler. I just slid the back end of the scalpel because I didn't want to hurt the feather duster, and both of them just popped right off. So I'm finally able to set it up real nice. I get the feather duster back in there, dig a little hole and get a nice little position. The rock had a nice notch in it that is able to help support the feather duster, so I can keep it on a nice angle, have it pointed up vertically, and just look real nice and centered right under the arch in the front of the tank. Just a nice little shimmy for a final adjustment, and now the last thing we have to do is just wait and see the GSP grow. Now about those pieces I cut off. It's time to glue those onto some rocks that I connected to a frag plug. I wanted to keep them on a rock so I could easily take them off and transplant them somewhere. But again, it was a bit of a struggle cutting off some of the GSP, so I had several little pieces instead of one nice one. So all I did was go and I took them and connected them onto the plug, just glued them with a little bit of glue. And then last but not least, I also set up that little experiment. So what is the experiment? I cut off a single polyp of GSP and attached it to a rock. So I'm really curious to see what will happen, if it'll grow out and actually be able to fully encrust the rock, or if one polyp isn't enough for it to sustain and just grow out. So it'll be really neat to see and watch what happens. After a quick dip in some lovely coral dip to help the coral regrow and recover, and moving, Chad the big hermit crab out of the way, because of course he's like, new thing, let me go climb it. We're able to finally see that it didn't come out exactly how I envisioned it, but all the corals are there. They're hopefully will start to recover. We'll give them some time, see how they do, but I got high hopes. If you remember, this GSP has been with us from the beginning. It's not going anywhere. This will hopefully just let it spread more, and the single polyp, we'll see how that goes. That was a lot harder than we were expecting going into it. As you can see, that definitely wasn't the best way to handle fragging, and I do not endorse it. But on the bright side, finally took care of that bubble algae that was on the feather duster. So it's happy now. It's got that weight off of it and got it in a nice position. It's a little more vertical. So that's one win out of this. As for the GSP, well, there's still some green dots. So we'll check back in on it. Again, that's why we chose to try it on a hardy coral, because if I were to do that on something else, don't know if it would make it, but we'll just keep an eye on it. We'll keep you guys updated as we progress. Hopefully it'll start coming out, and we'll see if it was a successful frag or a complete failure. Tune in next time.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I need money for fish.